Last week, we saw Brandon Proudfoot take yet another win on the season and extend his championship lead. But this week, we exchanged the wide-open layout of the dirt track at Charlotte for the tighter, twistier, bullring-style layout of Limaland. Will this Ohio gem do anything to change up the running order? Only time will tell. Welcome, everyone, to the 10th round of Season 10 for the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series. We are here at the virtual Limaland Motorsports Park. My name is DJ Clark, and on behalf of the Virtual Grip Network, my partner here in the booth, John Hine, our director, Mike Yao, as well as everyone behind the scenes at VGN, we'd like to thank you for joining us here tonight. John, this dirt track is a bit of a local favorite, and thanks to the influence of the University of Northern Ohio, it started to gain some national notoriety as well. But what else can you tell us about it?
It's a little quarter-mile bull ring. It's just a lot of fun. You know, it provides multi-groove racing, both in real life and here in iRacing. With these street stocks here tonight, I will tell you, I am looking forward to seeing these cars drive all over this track. But, you know, getting through the night, though, you got to get through the heat races. You know, we got only two guys that'll transfer to the A main out of each heat race. Everybody will go to the B, so plenty of action. A lot of guys are going to get a lot of track time tonight, and a big feature being 40 laps. Going to start 18 for that, and will be 40 laps of action-packed racing, DJ.
I know, I personally can't wait for it. And as I quickly mentioned before, that championship order starting to look a little bit more definitive, starting to look a little bit more like it has in years past, with Brandon Proudfoot having a over 100-point lead over William Hargraves. Lon Franks, the closest behind the two of them, with Billy Northcutt and Jason Best rounding out your top five. There you can see those standings on your screen. So a nice little scrap going on there for that third place, but especially if Proudfoot is able to get a good run here tonight, that is all but going to assure him his championship on the season yet again, as we scroll down through the full order there. But right now, John, drivers are out on track practicing, trying to get some times down. Brandon Proudfoot currently has the quickest time, with Bobby Hayes, Eli Schaefer, Lon Franks, and Hunter Hill behind them.
Yeah, and this is one of those tracks where getting out here early and getting some practice laps, especially as the track kind of burns off and it starts to slicken up, is just going to be immeasurable for somebody that doesn't have a lot of laps on it, because this track really is a wild card, DJ. You can get into trouble here pretty quick. You know, it's close quarter racing. Things happen really fast. You know, if you get a little too sideways, the guy behind you is probably going to get into the back of you. And so, you know, you can see one of the leaders have problems. You can see guys that are trying to catch them not have problems. And, you know, we can leave here where that whole points race will look a whole lot different.
It certainly could. We watch here the number 12 working his way around. That is Hunter Hill on your screen as he tries to go a little bit low. John, you and I were talking about before the broadcast how bull rings like this can really present some good multi-groove racing, and that looks like it's kind of what we're getting here in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. With these lower power cars and momentum, you can really work the bottom, you can work the middle and the slick, because you don't get the tire spin that your higher powered dirt cars can get. And you can get the momentum going up top, and all three lines will work if you drive them right, hit your marks. You know, so that provides good racing, not only up front but back through the pack. Everybody's been stuck in rush hour traffic, and you've been in one lane and it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. The other lane looks like it's going faster, so you move up in that lane. All of a sudden, the other lane starts working, and that's what you'll see here. And provides, like I said, for some really fun times behind the wheel for sure.
Well, fun times behind the wheel, and hopefully providing some fun times out on track for our viewers as well. We ride on board with Jason Menda right here. That is Chris Hazlip that you just saw poking in and out of frame there, the 93, with what looks like a new wrap on the car this week. That's John Wilson directly ahead of him. Menda trying to work on those different grooves like you were talking about, John, and it looks like for the 45 that he's got some pretty good efficacy, coming high, coming low. He's able to put that car almost wherever he wants it on track.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, the beauty of this place. You can run any one of these lanes and you can get them to work, but the thing is, each of them have both the pros and cons. Up top, you can really get your momentum and you can turn some really fast laps up there. However, that wall, you have to be right on that wall to do so, and it can grab you, especially coming out of turn 2. and get you into trouble. In the middle, you can get in the slick. The car will want to rotate, and it'll tend to want to over-rotate. Next thing you know, you're trying not to spin out. And then on the bottom, just trying to keep the RPMs up and not letting the car bog down and lose all your momentum off the corners. So 3 different challenges for each lane. And again, I think that's just what makes this track so much fun to drive.
Well, I know you were saying before we went live that this is one of your favorite ones to drive there. We watched Chris Hazlip in that new wrap, working his way around there, the yellow and red machine. Currently, penultimately last on the charts, but certainly some speed to be gained. And John, as this track really starts to slick in, we see that high line going. You talked a little bit earlier about how it gets a little bit easier to run sometimes when it slicks into different areas. How much wear do you think we're going to get tonight, and how much do you think that's really going to affect the driver's mentality about where to run?
Well, I think we'll see quite a bit of wear. We're currently, it's 84 degrees, and that's about 66 track conditions. So, it's gonna wear in probably a little bit slower, but come feature time, I think you'll see that's where you'll see separate the men from the boys, I guess you should say, where, guys that know how to read the track are going to put their car in the lane at the time that lane's the most dominant.
Well, as always seems to be the case, it sounds like it's going to be all about reading the track, finding it out. Driver had a little trouble reading that exit there out of the corner. That was Ryan Seneca. You saw him getting very, very sideways coming out of turn 4. He's going to dive it down here again. John, it looks like he's opting a little bit for a middle to high line, let's call it.
Yeah, and that one probably runs the least amount of risk because you can drive it in straight. Some of these guys are asphalt guys that run with us on Saturday night. They can put those skills to use running the middle. You just drive it in straight, let the car roll, and try to get it straight pointed out. You don't have to put a lot of wheel, too much wheel into it to accomplish that.
Well, that is always the goal. The more wheel you've got to put in, the less speed you're going to be carrying because of that friction on the tires taking it away. Seneca getting very squirrely again coming out of turn 4, getting the sense that could be a big danger area. You talked a little bit about it earlier, John, but that could be an area where we see some drivers slip up over the course of the race.
Yeah, the exits of these corners are incredibly sketchy once the track slicks up. Turn 2, when you get out there, the track, I don't know, seems to almost want to come down and get you as you come out of the corner. Your car tends to push, but coming out of 4, you want to gas it up. It's really tempting to get into the gas too quick. It can kick the back out and get you in a lot of trouble there. And as the slicker gets you, both areas, you're going to see really become trouble areas for the guys on the track.
Well, and what can a driver do to counter that if they're having those problems there on exit? Is it a matter of feathering the throttle a little bit more? Is it a matter of steering control? How can you counter that to make sure that you're not getting sideways and really carry the maximum amount of momentum there, especially if you're maybe stuck up on that high line running 2 or 3 wide during the course of the race?
You mostly got to do that with your feet, because what you do with the steering wheel is really dictated with what you're doing with your feet. If you put too much foot into it and you kick the back loose, that's where all of a sudden you've got to put more steering in to get it to straighten up or catch the slide. So the footwork is the most important. You got to you drive with an eggshell under your throttle. Slowly roll back into it. You just can't mash the gas. When you think, okay, I can get out of this corner and not hit the wall. If you do that, you're going to find yourself into trouble more times than you probably really want to.
Well, we are going to have to watch for drivers at that, as we've only got a minute left to go here in qualifying, and in practice rather. And the good news is for these drivers, it looks like we have 18 entries in the field right now. So that means nobody's got to go home. And John, that is a huge relief when you are out running in these heat races and into the B and C mains.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to be quite as aggressive. Of course, you're going to see the guys in the points be aggressive because you don't want to start, Brandon Proudfoot, if he's on the front row, you don't want to start in the 4th, 5th row. That's a huge handicap. So, I think you're still going to see that aggression for those guys that have something really on the line. But those guys towards the back, they can take a deep breath here and they can just enjoy themselves, and they can, learn and take chances and try things here without a really big penalty of going home.
Well, we are about to find out who is going to be starting and where, because the checkered flag is currently flying for this practice session. We get ready for 4 laps of single car qualifying here at Limaland, and this will determine the starting order for those heats. And as John, as you said, only 2 drivers advance automatically to the A main, and so those top 2 positions very, very crucial as they get up and going. We watch here Chris Hazlip in that 93 machine as he works his way out on track. And with a multi-group track like this, John, is qualifying as important as it is at other tracks, or do you think we're going to be able to see a lot of movement up and down the field?
It's important here. You know, the more cars that you don't have to pass in any race is important. So you want to be on that front row, especially here for the heat race, because it's going to be a little bit dominant, or bottom dominant probably, for the first heat race. So you want to make sure that you're in those first 2 rows and set yourself up for your best chance of success for the night.
And as we watch those drivers putting in the times, it looks like Chris Hill is going to be on top. Bobby Hayes slotting in behind him. John Wilson and Jason Menda, they're in the top 4. Ryan Seneca putting a time onto the board as Steven Spees able to go into P2 there. Good to see that 55 machine back up towards the pointy end of the field. And this is Brandon Proudfoot. Now, if what our reports before the race are to be believed, he is basically giving himself an end-of-the-line penalty here because of that contact he made last week. Did not feel good about it and is opting to start in the back of the field. And John, you and I were talking a little bit before the broadcast, but that is just the kind of sportsmanship that we have come to expect here from the Bootleg Racing League.
Yeah, that's a really nice move, you know. And, you know, I watched the replay of last week, and, you know, those things happen on a racetrack. You know, you might see things a little different or think you can do things a little different, and then they just don't work out sometimes. And, you know, that's what makes this league, though, really good. You know, it's just not Brandon, but up and down the league, any one of these guys, you know, they do try to take care of each other on the track. And I can tell you there's a lot of leagues in iRacing that absolutely do not have drivers in it that do that.
Indeed. Is Jim Revis there you were watching going for a little bit of a spin, and William Hargraves able to put that car on the top of the scoring pylon with a 15.079. The 71 machine currently top of the pops. We watch here J.R. Shepard working his way around, trying to improve from a 10th place position right now. Seeing if there's anything to be had here for the 98 brand. As we jump back here, this is the 47 machine of Jason Best, who is the last driver to put the time down. He is able to go 10th fastest, dislodging J.R. Shepard. Some good times getting thrown down here.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about being a short track. The times are close together, so, you know, a 10th takes you from being right now in the top 2 all the way down to almost mid-pack, just a 10th of a second, and that's just not a great deal of time.
It isn't indeed. Is Jim Revis for Jim Revis Esports and Thunder Ridge Racing able to put the fastest time down, pipping Hargraves to the pole by 0.04 of a second. That is a mega lap there. And as you said earlier, John, that could be very, very crucial with starting position a little bit key here. He'll be starting off in P1 in Heat 1.
Yeah, that's where you want to be. You get to choose the lane, dictate the start, the whole 9 yards. A great advantage.
All right, so to run you through here our qualifying order with about a minute and 15 seconds to go, it is Revis, Hargraves, Hill, and Spees. Those will be the drivers to qualify your heat races. Behind them, Frank's looking pretty good. Jason Best coming in at the last minute. He is able to put a time down and pip Revis to the pole by 11 thousandths.
That's a heck of a lap Jason let down. He's probably pumped inside that car right now.
Yes, he is, and it looks like William Hargraves here, he may have a little something to say about this. He's going to pilot that 71 machine around, try to see if there's a little bit more to be had. Dives the car down into 3 and 4. This is Hargraves style. We've seen him back off and do a lap later. Is William able to go any faster than what we've seen him do? He is, but it's not going to be enough to improve over Revis. He will stay in 3rd place, but let's see if he's got a little bit more speed in the car now. Getting across the line there for his fourth and final lap. He is going to be unable to improve, and that is pretty much going to end qualifying for us out there today. Brandon Proudfoot, the last car on track, just putting in some practice times. But with qualifying done, it's time to head over to our heat races. Starting off in pole position for heat number 1, it will be Jason Best, followed by Chris Hill, and Lon Franks will start in P3. P4 will be John Wilson, followed by Joe Segala, and Ryan Seneca will round out this field. All right, John, as we take a look here at the field, everybody getting lined up and ready to go, what are you going to be watching for in this first heat race? Are there going to be any indications of who has got some mega speed underneath them?
Yeah, I'm probably going to look at watch the track conditions probably a little more closely than the drivers themselves. I think that the front two here are going to be the two to watch, and then Lon. I'd be interested to see if Lon can actually get up there and take that second position away, being on the bottom. So that will be, I think, key to where guys line up even next race here.
All right, and leader does have lane choice here, so I'm going to put you on the hot seat right now, John, and say if you were in the position of Jason Best, you starting low or you starting high?
I'm starting low.
All right, well, he is clearly taking your advice. Jason Best down to that low side, being flanked by Chris Hill, Lon Franks, John Wilson behind them, Joe Segala and Ryan Seneca behind them as well. Pace truck getting ready to scamper off into the infield here, and indeed, there it goes. Giving control of the field over to Jason Best, waiting for that green flag, but he is not going to wait for it. He's already on it, trying to slide up and cut off Chris Hill, but that's going to be Lon Franks down to the inside, trying to make a good run. He looks like he's got it, and indeed he does have it. Moves to cover off Chris Hill, but a little bit of contact there between the two as they dive into 3 and 4 for the first time.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I expected things to go there. That bottom line was going to be dominant here for this first heat race. Maybe still for that next heat race, the cooler on-track conditions are going to probably allow that to not wear in quite as quick. But Lon Franks right now is just stalking Jason Best for the lead here.
Yes, he certainly is. They've dropped Chris Hill to the tune of a couple of car lengths here, and there was a little bit of a look off the exit of turn 2 for Lon Franks, trying to see if there was anything that he could do to take that lead away from Jason Best. They cross over the start-finish line here with half of the race done, half of this first heat race. Big inside move in the back from Chris Hill. He is clearly hungry and trying to move his way forward.
Yeah, right now you see Lon Franks entering the corner a little bit high, and then in the middle of the corner almost driving down, trying to get to Jason Best inside, maybe down one of these straightaways to take that bottom, that preferred groove away from him. And right now Jason Best is just doing a heck of a job holding his line and not making any mistakes.
Making no mistakes at all, and he's only got 4 more corners to not make any of those mistakes. Lon Franks continuing to stalk behind here, getting a better run off of Jason Best as they are halfway done with this white flag lap. Franks sending a little bit of a move down to the inside to see if it works, but I don't think it is. Jason Best will take victory here in this first heat race, followed by Lon Franks, Chris Hill, John Wilson, Joe Segala, and Ryan Seneca rounding out your field. Jason Best and Lon Franks automatically advancing to the A main. As we get ready now for the second heat race here tonight, this is going to be Jim Revis lining up to the outside with Steven Spies alongside him. Hunter Hill and J.R. Shepard will be third and fourth, with Matt Chinoski and Chris Hazlett making up the row behind them. All right, John, we've got one race here in the books. As you said, that lone line looked dominant, but what are your other takeaways?
That, the racing's going to be kind of fierce. We saw, basically cars with little room between each other, playing a chess game out there, and I expect that to continue here. But the track did wear in a good deal, a little bit more than what I thought it would be. Looks like Jim Revis is probably going to keep the bottom here still, but Steven Spies there, a little biased. That's my teammate out there. We'll see how he handles being up top here. Maybe he can hold on to that second place and get into the A.
We will have to see indeed as the second of 3 heat races here tonight get ready to fire off. Pace truck scampers off into the infield, giving control of the field over to Jim Revis. Steven Spies going to be looking to his side as that's an early start there for Revis. Spies gets on it immediately, and he is able to slot in right behind them. It's J.R. Shepard and Hunter Hill going side by side through the corner, and Spies trying to see if there's a little bit of an angle he can get, but it's Hunter Hill that's looking very, very aggressive. J.R. Shepard losing a little bit of momentum there on the high line as they work their way around to finish the first lap.
Yeah, and if these guys get into too much trouble, Matt Chinoski's right there in 5th place, so one of these guys can go from sitting in a transfer spot all the way to being in one of those B mains.
And there was a big move down to the inside for Steven Spies. Spies in the 55, a driver who likes to run the low line. Normally, he is not a top feeder, likes to be able to kind of play around a little bit in these wide open bullring tracks, so look for him to be aggressive throughout the night. Behind him, J.R. Shepard certainly trying to put the moves on Hunter Hill, but to no avail right now as he just doesn't seem to be able to get the run.
No, they have fallen in the line at this place. So it looks like right now, the one line right there in about the high to middle, the middle line, higher middle, it looks like to be the place to be, just right above those slick patches that are developing there.
Ooh, and a big clobber into the wall for Hunter Hill. That may give J.R. Shepard a little bit of an idea, but up front it is Jim Revis who has taken the white flag. Spies has one more look to the inside. It's not going to matter. Jim Revis will take the win here in heat number 2, followed by Steven Spies. Hunter Hill barely able to hold on over J.R. Shepard. Shepard putting on a good display there with Matt Chinoski behind them and bringing up at the back of the field in his new wrapped car, Chris Hazlip in the number 93 machine. So Revis and Spies will be the ones automatically advancing, but we don't have time to dwell on them because we are already able to get here into the 3rd and final heat race of the night. Lining up in pole position, it will be William Hargraves, followed by Bobby Hayes, Jason Menda, and Eli Schaefer behind them, with Kevin Moody 6th, Kevin Moody 5th, Brandon Proudfoot in 6th. And I guess here, John, the big story out of this race has got to be Proudfoot starting from the back of the field.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you, he did the self-imposed EOL by not doing the great qualifying time, but I'll tell you what, this is the heat he wants to be in the back, because the track wear is in enough to where he may be able to make a couple of these spots get up here, and he may not get to the win, but maybe that first spot looking in where he could start on the pole of one of the consies might be the goal here, but we'll see if he can get all the way up here into 2nd and lock himself in the A.
Well, if anybody can do it, it is the number 22 and Brandon Proudfoot, it has to be said, as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. Lights on the iRacing pace truck are turned off and control of the field, about ready to be handed over to William Hargraves, as there goes the pace truck. Hargraves waits a little bit later than we've seen other drivers, but now gets on the loud pedal, and we are racing here in the 3rd heat race. It's a little bit of a coming together there for Hayes, Menda, and Schaefer. They were running very, very tight. Looks like Bobby Hayes trying to fight back, but Jason Menda, that was Hayes up into the wall. Menda able to get on through. A little bit of tippage there, I think, between himself and Schaefer.
Yeah, meanwhile, Proudfoot is ripping the lip up top and making ground on these guys because, they're banging into each other, and all that does is scrub speed while he's keeping it wound up on the top.
And we are about to potentially go 4 wide on the exit of the corner. No, it's going to come out, and Proudfoot already has the move done on Eli Schaefer. There, it's 3 wide as they go in through turns 1 and 2 here on lap 3 of the 3rd heat race. Menda and Hayes continuing to squabble with each other, and out front, William Hargraves has just completely checked out.
Yeah, all that beating and banging really gave Hargraves a break, and he's able to get out and run his line. But the battle for 2nd and 3rd and 4th is not over yet.
A little bit of a crossover there for Bobby Hayes, looking down to the inside. Contact between himself and Jason Menda. That's going to open up the door even more to Brandon Proudfoot as he continues to rip the high line around here. 2 laps to go. It looks like momentum is going to carry the 22 around Bobby Hayes. They're going to be fully 3 wide as they dive into 3 and 4 for the penultimate time. Proudfoot hoping that momentum is going to prove him out. A little bit of contact there in the back between Eli Schaefer and and Bobby Hayes. Proudfoot now ripping the high line. It's going to be a drag race between himself and Jason Menda to see who's going to come out on top. Up front, it will be William Hargraves who will take the checkered flag, but behind him, is it Proudfoot? Is it Menda? It's Proudfoot at the line to take the 2nd place on the automatic transfer spot.
That was a heck of a run right there by Brandon Proudfoot. That is going to help offset that self-imposed EOL.
It is indeed, as we get ready to go racing here for the C main event. Now again, all drivers will qualify out of this, and lining up in pole position, it will be Chris Hill, followed by Jason Menda, J.R. Shepard, and Joe Segala behind them, with Eli Schaefer in 5th and Chris Hazlip in 6th. And John, I gotta tell you, it looks like at least one driver has found out how to make that high line work. That was an impressive run for Brandon Proudfoot.
Yeah, and this is such a monkey see, monkey do sport. I'm going to be interested to see how many guys go up there and try to emulate that and get that car wound up on the top. There was a heck of a run out there, and it'd been interesting to see, if he was up there with Hargraves at all, to see if which lane of those two lanes would have been a little quicker. But I'm going to venture to say they're pretty even right now, though.
All right, pretty even, and we'll have to see if anybody decides to make that high line work. Waiting for Chris Hill here. I did see a disconnect from him earlier, so he may not be able to get onto the grid. And indeed, your pole sitter not going to grid up here, so a big development. He is going to have to start from pit lane. And while that's not going to put him out of the A main, that is going to put him more than likely in the back of the field, and that is a huge blow to the 05.
Yeah, that's a really tough deal there, but like you said, he's still going to make the A here. So if there was a week that he was going to have a problem, this is the week to have the problem.
All right, the pace truck lights are off, and this is going to promote J.R. Shepard really up into that prime position to be starting on the inside. We've seen all of the drivers thus far who have lane choice to opt to start on the inside here. So we'll have to see if Shepard's able to get a good launch off of the line. Pace truck has come into pit lane, waiting, and there we go. We're racing. It is a mega start for J.R. Shepard. That's going to be Menda and Schaefer side by side, duking it out a little bit for P2. With Joe Segala trying to eye it up. Very squirrely there for Jason Menda. He's lucky to have caught that car. Ooh, and a big ka-thunk there between Jason Menda and Eli Schaefer. Not the best of ways of going here. And Joe Segala now getting very, very interested in the back of that number 17, trying to see if he can get anything on Schaefer.
Yeah, and I'm surprised none of these guys haven't gone up to that Brandon Proudfoot line. And right there, you see Segala use up the 17 a little bit to get by him there, but right now the groove that most of these guys look to be fighting for is just right above the slick in the corner, and it seems to be working, as now you see the front two have really pulled away from the guys in the back there.
Indeed they have. That is Chris Hazlip running down on the low line there and able to make that line work to get ahead of Joe Segala. Segala now takes the opportunity to run low. Thought about a slider, and there's big contact between himself and Chris Hazlip. Both drivers are able to continue on, but that was a big bang into the wall there for the 93. Segala's going to be able to hold on to 4th position, but I don't think this is done yet from Hazlip.
No, that's that'd get me up on the wheel if I'm in Hazlip position there. But like I said, good news for all these guys. They can do this and take these chances and be a little aggressive, because if they make a mistake, they're still in the show.
Exactly, and 3 laps to go here at Limaland for the A main. J.R. Shepard continues to lead as he takes 2 laps to go as they work on by. Hazlip continuing to try to see if he can get anything on Segala, trying to make that low line work, but Segala taking that leap out of Brandon Proudfoot's book and going high here, John.
Yeah, and it's the track has changed a lot just in these few laps here, and we got one more of these consies to go, and I think they're just going to continue to migrate to the top there.
Well, one driver who didn't have to worry about that is J.R. Shepard, who takes the heat race victory here in the C main. Behind him, it'll be Jason Menda, Schaefer, and who is going to win this battle out of Segala and Hazlip? It will be Joe Segala. Chris Hill was able to get going there, but finished a lap down. He will still be able to make it into the A main event, as we said. Running you through that final finishing order again, as everybody makes it in. But now it's time for the B main event. Lining up in pole position for this, it will be Hunter Hill, followed by John Wilson, Bobby Hayes, and Matt Shadowski behind them, with Ryan Seneker and Kevin Moody making up your 6-car field. All right, John, we saw a little bit of that monkey see, monkey do on the high line, but not as much as you and I were really anticipating, I think.
No, not at all. And like I said, though, before that, though, I think that middle groove was still probably every bit as quick. And even now, as you see them going through 1 and 2, they're right above that. There's like just some good tack right above where you see the slick marks through the corner. I think that's still probably the quickest way around, but I think you can go up top and really challenge that line. I think I would take the inside on the start here, but for the first time tonight, I'd be tempted to take that outside.
Well, it looks like Hunter Hill is going to take that temptation. He will be starting on the outside line here. John Wilson will be to his inside. So that is certainly going to change some things up here as we get ready to go racing in this 8-lap B main event. Again, all cars will transfer. Waiting for Hill to get on it, and get on it he does. Carries some good momentum around the outside. He's able to just barely eke by John Wilson as they dive into turn 1. Behind them, low line seems to be working out for Bobby Hayes as everybody starts to get single file with the exception of Ryan Seneca and Kevin Moody behind in the back of the field.
Yeah, and it looks like John Wilson's fighting back there in that just that touch lower groove, you know, but man, the runs that the Hunter Hill is getting coming out of those corners just eats up any advantage John Wilson gets, you know, through the center of the corner.
Yeah, it's a really good line playing out right now for Hunter Hill. A lot of speed in that number 12 machine. There is Wilson, but he can't be looking just ahead because that is Bobby Hayes and Matt Shanoski coming in behind him, and they've got to be very careful. Shanoski trying to run a little bit of a high line rather, with Ryan Seneca working down low to see if anything has happened there. There you can see the 19 of Seneca. He's making that low line work relatively well, and he and Shanoski are side by side now.
Yeah, and they got in a battle for second too, and again, side by side and all the way back to fourth and fifth there.
And that was Bobby Hayes able to get around John Wilson for P2, but Wilson's going to send it down to the low side, see if he can return the favor. Runs out of speed, though, as they're going to continue on again. We are Noah's Ark, 2x2 between Hayes and Wilson and Seneca and Shanoski. Working 3 laps to go. A little bit of contact there into the wall for Bobby Hayes. Is that going to slow him down at all as they cross over the line and take 2 to go?
Yeah, you really see that line that John Wilson's running, and it is hanging on, but Bobby Hayes just had a big moment there with that wall, but gets away with it here.
Gets away with it. Wilson continues to stalk behind. That is Seneca running that low line and trying to make it work. White flag is in the air, though, for Hunter Hill, who holds a 2.5-second gap over the rest of this field. It will be him coming out of the final corner here to take victory in the B main. Behind him, Bobby Hayes will take second. John Wilson just pips Ryan Seneca to the line by a measly 9/1000ths of a second. My goodness. Shanoski and Moody will finish behind them. Woo! You weren't lying when you mentioned some multi-groove racing around here, John. That is exactly what we love to see in the Bootleg Racing League.
Absolutely. That was we had a lot going on. That was a heck of a race to watch.
It was indeed, as drivers now make their way out onto track. We are going to bring in our in-race reporter here with us, Brandon Proudfoot. Brandon, first and foremost, congratulations on a heck of a drive up through the field there in your heat race, but how's the track feeling?
Track feels good. I honestly didn't expect to get that many spots in the heat race. Top came in a little bit earlier than I thought I was going to, so I think this evening is going to be pretty interesting.
Well, John, I turn Brandon over to you as the technical expert. What can you ask here of our reigning and maybe future champion?
Well, Brandon, this track is changing a lot right now, but you watch that last race there, it looks like there's a couple of lines out there. How are you going to assess which line you want to be in, and do you think you're going to see this thing, the preferred line move off that top at any point?
I think it will. Compared to how we broke it down in practice, where the top was severely dominant and the middle and bottom was kind of slicked up, the way we have it right now, the entries are a little bit slicked up, but that exit is just, there's a very, very thin line on the bottom there. It's the only place where we have the slick. We're working this cushion in right now here in warm-ups, and the top's still a little bit slicked off, but it's, I believe, the place to be right now, but there's still a lot of life left in that middle. So I think as that cushion starts to wear away later in the race, look for people to start moving to slider line, or maybe even to the bottom, depending on how bad the top gets.
Well, you're starting 6th here. Tell me what your strategy is, and for the opening laps here, you're going to be on the outside.
do what it did in the heat race. Use the top and hope it works throughout the whole night. Try to keep my nose clean, most importantly.
Well, as you're going around there right now, where do you feel like the track challenges the car the most? Where do you think you guys are going to get themselves in trouble?
Exit off of 4, 100%. Compared to turn 1 and 2 here at Limaland, the embankment usually stays pretty consistent with the degrees, but specifically in turn 4, I don't know if any viewers are familiar with Lincoln Speedway here in PA, but the exit off of 4 almost kind of loses its banking. So you almost kind of get that push effect as if you'd get, say, if you start sliding on ice on your local driveway, or say you get a little bit less of a hill and you just start to slide. You'll see a lot of guys pushing out to the wall there, and same thing for 2 once it gets really slicked off. That track entrance there also does the same thing there, but it's a little bit farther out. So watch for guys to be pushing up into the wall and probably bouncing off it here, off of 2 and 4 specifically.
Well, last question I have for you then is, what's your goal here by the end of the night? You think you can get all the way up there to win this thing, or you looking for like a top 3, or what are your goals here?
I love running the top here. It's going to be a little bit tough to pass, just kind of how it was last week, I believe. But here, warm-ups, we got about a minute left here, and I'm just seeing the top line getting more and more dominant here. So I think there's going to be a lot of life left in the middle. I see some guys are starting to experiment with the bottom. So the track is almost getting like a Y shape with a slick pattern. There's now a whole line around the top here, and there's a little bit on the bottom. So there's a sweet spot in the middle, I think, that'll come into play here later on for some drivers.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And DJ, if you got any other questions for him, have at it.
That pretty much knocks it out of the park for me. Thank you, Brandon, and good luck out there.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Brandon Proudfoot, driver of the 22 and one of the drivers to automatically advance from the heat race. And some good information to take out of there, John. It sounds like that high line's going to be the way to go, but fortune favors the bold, and we may see some guys trying to go low.
Yeah, the one thing about, if you're running the high side and the 2 guys in front of you are running the high side, well, if all you're going to do is follow them, guess where you're going to finish? Behind them. You're going to have to take some chances. You're going to have to move around. And, and I've had this happen many, many times, EJ. You start to move around and then you find something. And hopefully you can find something and capitalize on it before your competitors see that you found something and start taking it away from you.
Well, we don't have long to wait to find out who is going to be able to take what away from whom, because the checkered flag is waving here in our final warm-up, and we are ready to go racing for this 40-lap feature event. Lining up in pole position, it will be Jason Best, followed by Jim Revis, with William Hargraves and Lon Franks behind them. Steven Spies will be in P5, followed by Brandon Proudfoot, with J.R. Shepard and Hunter Hill 7th and 8th. Jason Menda will be P9, followed by Bobby Hayes, who rounds out your top 10. John?
Eli Schaefer will start 11th. Next to him will be John Wilson, our 2 B-main winners. And then you're looking at Joe Segala and Ryan Seneker. Next row will be Chris Hazlip and Matt Shinosky. And rounding out the field tonight is going to be Christopher Hill and Kevin Moody.
Well, all right, John, this is my favorite time of the night. It is prediction time. I am going to throw it to you. Who's looking good out here? Who's your favorites?
Well, luckily we're not in Vegas where I had to lay money on this, because I think this is going to be a crapshoot. You've got 2 guys that have been pretty dominant all season, a couple rows back here, but I'm going to root for Jason Best out there. A couple weeks ago, he was in this very scenario. I think it was at Volusia, where he was up front, had a great car, and then bad luck set in for him. I think this is the week that he capitalizes here and keeps this thing up front and brings home a victory.
All right, I kind of like that prediction. I personally am going to be looking at Lon Franks. It's been a hot minute since we've seen the 58 win a race, but I think this could be his to take. But regardless of that, we won't have long to wait to find out who is going to be on the top step, because the pace truck pulls off to the inside, giving control of the field over to Jason Best, waiting for the green flag, and there goes the green. We are racing in Limaland. It's a great start up front here for Jason Best as he continues to carry some momentum on that high side. Lon Franks having to do a little bit of a checkup behind him. A little bit of bumping and bagging between Revis and Franks as they dive into the corner. Hargraves working the high side as well. Looks like Steven Speed's trying to go low and make up a few positions. Franks, the best position here. He is up one as they work their way through. A little bit of a swallow up there for Jim Revis as he gets bogged down mid-corner.
Yeah, you're seeing that top line have just a little bit more momentum off these corners. And 3 wide down the front straightaway, DJ.
My goodness gracious, 3 wides. We jump back there. Here it is. That is Best trying to hold it out. Lon Franks trying to get a little bit in the mid side there. Looks like William Hargraves had a little bit of a collision there. That is going to be Lon Franks bringing the corner in very, very long. He's going to be able to carry some momentum and put a little bit of a challenge to Jim Revis as they dive into turn 1.
Yeah, as they come off of turn 2 here, top 2 seem to be kind of settled out here. And now Jim Revis goes back to 3rd with Hargraves hot on his tail as they come back down the front stretch and into 1.
And those leaders have all single filed out there pretty much all the way back to 9th place with Jason Menda, but that doesn't mean that it is over yet because there goes Jim Revis diving down on the low side again, trying to pick up a little bit of momentum. He is trying to push away, but right now it continues to be Jason Best who just holds onto that high position. Here is William Hargraves back and forth. He is pushing here, John. He dives low.
Yeah, now here's where they're starting to try things. You know, like I said, the guys in front of you, they stay in the same line. If you just follow them, and now we got to change for the lead.
Big slide job thrown by Lon Franks, but a list judge just a little bit. That's actually going to be contact between himself and Revis, and that stacks up the whole field. That's Hargraves into the wall. Everybody able to keep pointed the same way. Hunter Hill was very, very sideways. I don't know how they got out of that unscathed.
No, and the big winner of that was Brandon Proudfoot, our N-Race reporter. He was able to go low and kind of miss that whole back up there, and now he's sitting in P3, and Franks hits the wall again.
And that's going to open up the door to Proudfoot, who throws a big slider, but Franks is cagey to it, and he's able to get the pass done back on the exit of turn 2 with a little bit of a crossover move. Proudfoot's going to have to think twice before he tries that again, but he gets very sideways off of turn 4. We also see Hargraves getting very sideways. That turn 4 slickness really coming to catch out some drivers.
Yeah, oh, big hit down the backstretch.
Ooh, these drivers coming into each other, and we have our first yellow being thrown here as we watch as this Revis that gets into some problems. Oh, that was the incident we saw between Revis and Hargraves there. I believe it was Kevin Moody potentially that had the problem that caused this yellow. No, it was Revis. It was Revis getting turned around.
Oh, man. He hit that wall a ton.
Yeah, he really and truly did, and just there you can see able to get out and get that lap back. Obviously, caution laps do not count here as they go around, so they're going to be happy to be able to go and be all right.
And I can assure you, Revis was not happy on how that all went down there, but Hargraves was cleared and pulled up in front of him there, and yeah, that contact resulted in him really catching that wall hard. Now he's got it in the back, but it's early on in the race. He's still got 30 laps to work his way back through.
All right, and it will be a double file restart here as they get ready to go, and that is going to be Best out to the high side. He's able to get a car length advantage over Lon Franks. Proudfoot down to the inside here, trying to make things work. A little bit of argy-bargy between Lon Franks and Jason Best, and here comes Franks down to the inside, throwing a big slide job out of 4, and it just might work. It does, but there's contact, and again, that's going to be Jason Best testing the worst of it.
Man, that's a tough break for Jason.
It really and truly is. As you see him mired back in the middle of the field here, he is currently 3 wide with Hunter Hill and J.R. Shepard trying to fight for those positions as we have another yellow flag out on track.
You know, DJ, I think at Volusia, I think I picked Jason to win that race too, and he had all that bad luck. I'm going to quit picking him.
Yeah, it does not work, but there you can see the incident. That's Eli Schaefer in the 17 machine just getting a little bit too close for comfort there. All right, let's re-rack the field right now as it is Lon Franks out front, William Hargraves behind him, J.R. Shepard up 4 positions to be able to work his way into 3rd place, Brandon Proudfoot and Hunter Hill behind them.
Yeah, and like I said, poor Jason, I really have to quit picking him because I feel like I'm jinxing him every time I do. But, oh, that's just a heartbreak for him. I hated to see that.
All right, we re-rack the field here. Lon Franks looks like he is going to opt to take the inside line here again, and that's going to put Hargraves on the outside. Shepard will line up to the inside, Proudfoot to the outside. So here they go. Jason Menda now back in 6th place. We'll have to see what happens here. Franks very, very early on the pedal. Gets a little bit sideways, but there's some good momentum for William Hargraves. He's going to try to carry that around the high side. J.R. Shepard working a little bit low on Brandon Proudfoot, but that's not going to work out to his effect. They stay single file behind them. It looks like Hunter Hill trying to get a move done on Jason Menda to the best of his abilities as they go, but they are very, very close together up front.
Yeah, they are. Bumper to bumper to bumper. Now, again, here's where all of a sudden, if you're Proudfoot, if you just follow these two guys, that's where you're going to finish. Somewhere along the way, he's going to have to try to a different line, try something a little different to get around these two guys.
Yes, he is. We continue to watch this little fierce battle starting to shape out a little bit. Whoa, that was a very sideways look there for Chris Hill as they continue to work their way around. Excuse me, that was Hunter Hill who got very sideways. That's Chris Hill down to the inside. The pair of Hills here duking it out. That is Chris Hill up to the low line and Hunter Hill up high. Looks like momentum comes back to favor Hunter there a little bit. We've got a little bit more, 3 wide in the back. Oh, that's a big rotation for Seneca. Are they all going to be able to keep that pointed the right way? Segala, everybody's okay for now.
That's one of those where I'm not sure how they kept all those cars pointed straight, but what a battle we're seeing through the field. We're seeing that multi-groove racing towards the back and to the middle.
Indeed we are, and there you see Hunter Hill trying to cut off the 0-5 of Chris Hill to the best of his abilities. Hill and not able to get it to work. Chris Hill, rather. Hunter Hill going to come back up to the high side, try to carry that momentum around, gets very sideways off the corner, but able to control the car and able to be ahead as they cross the start-finish line. This battle continuing to rage on. Jason Menda in the 45 directly ahead of them.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Menda, I think, is holding those two guys up here. As you see now, the battle from the inside. He's on that inside lane, and it looks like he's going to be able to take Menda here for the pass.
Indeed, as he throws a little bit of a mini slide job there, getting up into the high groove. He's going to carry momentum around as Menda tries to fight it down low. Here comes Menda down to the low side, trying to see what he can do. Tries to throw a slider, but it is not going to be effective. And indeed, it may slow him up enough that Chris Hill is going to have a little bit of a look to the outside. Menda tried to get up high on him, but we focus back up to the front as this is going to get interesting. That is Chris Hazlip directly ahead of our leaders. That's some lap traffic, John.
Yeah, and contact.
Oh, and that's Lon Franks. That is your leader around. Chris Hazlip there as well. That is a big incident here and massive repercussions. Let's take a look at the replay. There you can see as they go into the corner there, I just think Franks wasn't expecting Hazlip to be as slow as he was mid-corner, and that caught him out. That's going to bump him down. Looking at the order right now, it looks like iRacing has still scored Lon Franks as P1, so he will not have lost a position as a result of that contact.
No, iRacing didn't say that he was the cause of the caution. It was Hazlip that caused the caution because I think he's the one that got more sideways. So iRacing's got to revert to the previous lap. Well, the previous lap, Lon Franks was the leader at that point, so he gets his spot back. That is a huge break for Lon.
Indeed it is. So to re-rack here, it's Lon Franks, William Hargraves, J.R. Shepard, and Brandon Proudfoot, your top 4. Franks, again, going to be starting to the outside on lap 24 as they get going. Franks gets a little bit of an early restart, a little bit of a twitch there from William Hargraves as they come off the line. J.R. Shepard looks like he's got more momentum to carry around than Brandon Proudfoot. Proudfoot gets a little bit of a bump in the back from Menda, and another one for good measure is now that is Hunter Hill starting to challenge the 22 down to the inside as they work their way through 3 and 4. And we've got another yellow out on track right now. We'll have to go to the replay to find out who that was for. I'm not sure entirely. Jumping back, oh, this may be Steven Spies.
Yeah, I don't think he had anywhere to go. I think they were already wrecking in front of him. And on a bull ring, things happen fast in front of you, and sometimes you're just left with nowhere to go.
That looks like exactly what happened there to Steven. So we get ready to re-rack everything once again. We should get restarted here on lap 25 or 26, depending on how scoring goes. So over the halfway point here, and remember, we are closing in on that all-crucial 10 to go mark. When we get at 10 laps to go, there will be no double file restart, and that will be a huge thing for these drivers to consider.
I'm betting Lon Franks is still happy about that previous caution coming out when it did, because, man, that's just such a big advantage, and he's able to parlay it, keep the lead now.
Exactly, as the lights on the pace truck are off right now. We will get restarted here on lap 26. Franks again to the high side. Gets on it early. Hargreaves looks like he's able to keep up a little bit better than last time. They're going to be a little bit side by side as Hargreaves dives it deep down into the first corner. That's going to be Proudfoot, though, who may be able to get the jump on him. And indeed, Proudfoot up into P2.
Yeah, and Proudfoot really got so much momentum off of just that high side. Didn't even look like he lifted through 1 and 2, and now he's going to stalk Lon Franks here for the win here.
Yes, he is. There's another yellow flag comes out, unfortunately delaying that restart. It looks like Hazlett may have been involved in it. I also see Shinosky near the back of the field. We'll have to figure out what caused that, and this has got to be frustrating here for these drivers as we watch. This is Joe Segala. Yeah, that was Shinosky there. Got a little bit sideways coming through the corner. See a little bit of a tap there. Dives it in now through 1 and 2. He makes contact with Bobby Hayes and just a little bit of a train wreck there.
Yeah, that's just a racing incident. You know, it's really easy to misjudge somebody's speed and your closing speed on corners that are as quick as what these are. And then Matt checked up to try to not completely wreck. And then you see Segala there with nowhere to go, kind of comes in there and finishes Shinosky off.
All right, as we get ready to re-rack here once again, but this time Lon Franks is going to have a different challenger in the form of the 22 of Brandon Proudfoot, who has worked his way up to the front row. Proudfoot to the inside, Franks to the outside, Hargreaves and Hill now behind them with J.R. Shepard losing out. It's another early start there for Lon Franks as he gets going and the green flag waves. He's able to get a car length clear of Brandon Proudfoot as they dive into the corner. That's going to be Hargreaves trying to work that middle line, but it doesn't look like it's going to play out necessarily. Hunter Hill behind him. They're going to slot in single file for the top 4.
The top 4 is single file, but I'll tell you, from 6th on back, wow. They're 3 abreast and just hit. Someone got tagged and around they went.
Looks like Steven Spies may have been the cause of that incident. I saw the 55 get a little bit sideways, as well as Jason Menda collected in it. So, John, after a spat of green flag running here at the beginning, we've run into a little bit of a caution fest as it gets along. Here is a replay of that incident. And my apologies there to Steven Spies. Out there, he did. I did catch the back end of that with Spies getting collected. Okay, as that did look like the 05 there involved in it. Chris Hill, I see him down pit lane. All right, so we've got to re-rack him here once again, and I think Lon Franks is going to be kicking himself a little bit because he got a good start over Proudfoot on that last rego.
Yeah, and now this is where, as a leader, and yeah, you're right, these restarts are just completely frustrating, but you've got to shake it off and you've got to stay focused to make sure you hit your marks, you get a good start here, because Brandon is not a slouch. If you're sleeping on it or you make a mistake on the start, Brandon will capitalize.
He surely will as we get ready to go green flag racing here once again, waiting for Franks to get on that loud pedal. And there he does. Is he able to get clear again of Brandon Proudfoot? A little bit, not nearly as much as I think he'd like to. But now Hargreaves is going to power on by. That looks like William Hargreaves is going to be able to take over second position. Contact, though! That is contact between Proudfoot and Hargreaves. Multiple cars up into the wall.
Wow, that started, oh man, Lon Franks tagged that wall coming out of turn 2 and got him sideways, and it was on from there.
It really and truly was. There was the tag. Hargreaves getting a little bit interested, and you can see just how sideways he got, and then here comes the domino effect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars up into the wall. Proudfoot able to escape any of that kerfluffle. He is going to stay P2. Now it's Hunter Hill promoted into P3 and Jason Menda now up into P4.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the front of Lon Frank's car. He's got a lot of damage. I don't know if that's not going to affect that car some. The tires look like they're still square here, so he might be good to go, but if I'm him, I'm a little nervous as we get going.
Well, I would be too, and crucially here, this is with 11 laps to go that we will restart, so this will be the last chance at a double file restart. There you can see the damage on Frank's machine. Is he going to be able to withstand it? Let's wait and find out. There he goes. Gets a good jump on Proudfoot. Proudfoot's going to be able to slot in behind him on the high line. Big contact into the wall there for Jason Menda trying to make that high line work. I see John Wilson ducking down. He's had a little bit of a problem, but we focus back up front. 10 laps to go here as Lon Franks continues to lead over Brandon Proudfoot, and we've got another yellow. All right, not entirely sure what the cause of this yellow is. There was Wilson down to the inside. You see Segala, Shanoski, and Seneker there behind. As we follow them in, looks like Seneker just carried a little bit too much speed. That jumped into the side of John Wilson. Wilson doing a good job to try to get that thing back going, but it was too late, John.
Yeah, it just looked like he kicked the back out a little bit and it clipped Segala, and that turned him around there. That's... Oh man, you know now we're going to be single file though, so that might cut down on these cautions we're seeing. And now the pressure really is on Lon, because I tell you, Lon has knocked this wall down in several places throughout this race. He's got Proudfoot on his back bumper now. If he makes any of those kind of mistakes, I think that Proudfoot's going to be there to capitalize.
Indeed he is, and if anybody can capitalize on another mistake, it is Brandon Proudfoot, your multi-time reigning and potentially future champion here. Multiple championships to his name. The 22 going to be lining up single file behind Franks here. It will give Lon a little bit of an advantage. There he goes, getting onto the loud pedal. He is able to get at least a car length and a half advantage over Proudfoot as they dive their way into turn one for the first time. Hunter Hill holding on behind. I see John Wilson, the only driver, flirting with that low line, except for Proudfoot, who goes for the slider. Is Lon Franks able to respond? Contact between the two.
Wow. Proudfoot had a lot of momentum off turn two that last lap and was able to really get a run down low going into three and almost made that stick.
Almost made it stick, but not able to do it. Lon Franks continues to lead here as they cross over on the 35th lap. 6 laps to go here at Limaland. A little bit of side-by-side in the back with, I believe that is Revis trying to jump low to get some things working, but we're going to keep our eyes focused here up front. This is your third place car of Hunter Hill as he tries to close down on your leaders of Lon Franks and Brandon Proudfoot. 5 laps to go here at Limaland. Proudfoot looking very close off of turn 2.
Yeah, Franks is being conservative here from what I'm seeing. He's trying to do everything he can not to keep hitting that wall. Excuse me, and when he does, Proudfoot really gets runs on him, like right here coming out of 2.
Indeed, but Proudfoot tagged the wall a little bit coming off of turn 2, and that could blunt a little bit of his momentum. They're going to come out of turn 4 now with 3 laps to go here at Limaland. Continuing to work that high side. Big contact into the wall for Lon Franks. This could be the opportunity that Brandon Proudfoot needs. He looks to the inside, decides not to take it. He's going to re-rack. 2 laps to go. Proudfoot into the wall.
Oh, that might have sealed the deal for him. Well, now Franks is into the wall.
Now Franks up into the wall and Proudfoot looking for that opportunity. They're going to come around here. Franks throws a little bit of a defensive slider. Gets a little bit of contact there with Brandon Proudfoot, but he's going to be able to keep it ahead. White flag is in the air from Barney. Here they go. Lon Franks only has to hold on for 1 more lap against Brandon Proudfoot. Is Proudfoot going to try to slow the slider? No, it's Franks with the slider. Going low to try to blunt that momentum. A race to the line. It's Proudfoot. Proudfoot at the line by 71 thousandths of a second.
Now that's a finish. Wow.
Oh my goodness gracious, Brandon Proudfoot, who did not qualify here today, works his way up through the field. Lon Franks, who it looked dominant out on the race today, not able to take victory. Hunter Hill behind them will round out your podium positions. Jim Revis doing a good job there to hold on after some early damage. He comes home P4 with Jason Mendo rounding out your top 5. J.R. Shepard up 1 today to come home 6th. One of your big movers, John Wilson, in 7th, up 5. Bobby Hayes was 8th, followed by Steven Spees and Jason Bess, who had that incident halfway through the race and fell down the order. And that rounds out your top 10, John.
Oh, well, 11th is going to be Matt Shinowski, and then the guys that we saw have trouble at various spots here in the race. 12th will be Ryan Seneker. 13th will be Joe Segala. 14th will be Chris Hazlett. William Hargraves has got to, have the hard luck of the night there, was up front leading at points, or almost in the lead at points, and is going to come home in 15th tonight. Christopher Hill also 16th. Eli Schaefer 17th. Rounding out the field tonight is going to be Kevin Moody.
Oh my goodness, I need some pure oxygen after that race, but I have a feeling that another person here who needs it is our winner on the day, Brandon Proudfoot. Brandon, you pipped it at the line. My goodness gracious, man.
That was a close one for sure.
Talk me through your mindset coming in after that last restart where we saw you maybe think about trying to throw a slide job there. What were you thinking when you saw Lon throw that defensive line coming through 3 and 4?
Well, the first time I seen it, I noticed whenever I'd wiggle in the backstretch, he was reacting to it, and that was my first hint that he was kind of worried about my pace and the fact that I was behind him. So I knew for a fact he was defensive, but really it was just so hard to pass. Tom was just so dominant, and even if the slightest window opened, drivers were trying to stick their nose in, and I just tried to play patient as long as I could.
Well, that patience played out for you, and if my math is correct, you are the Season 10 champion, defending that crown. That has got to feel good, but as we look ahead here, we head to Knoxville next time out. Is that basically just going to be a race for fun, or what are you going to be feeling out there?
One of my favorite places to go. I love going to the bigger tracks, and Knoxville, it's very, very wide, even for these street stocks. Even the late models, you can go 3-4 wide comfortably there. It's a very, very nice track, and depending on literally how the weather is or how it breaks down will depend on whether you're going around the bottom in the slick, if you're even in the middle for that matter, even if you're going around the wall like we were tonight. It's a very, very I think the most unique track when it comes to track condition. There's some tracks like here at Limaland where you always lean towards the top, or Linear where you always lean towards the bottom. Knoxville is always a shot in the dark. It's a fun track. You can never predict where it's going to go.
Well, Brandon, you know the drill here at this point. Another victory. Who would you like to thank?
Fistful of Bourbon, winners get whiskey, baby. General Tire, Vision Wheel, Next Level Racing, St. Racing Fabrication, Yes to Motorsports, Law and all the guys that do the replay reviews, getting all the emails out, anybody that shares the broadcast, does any types of pictures in the photo shoots. You guys here at Virtual Grip Network for having us around and keeping us viewable for everybody, fiance, family, and everybody else that roots me on the streams. And yeah, that was an interesting night. Thanks, guys.
I think interesting may be the understatement of the century. That was Brandon Proudfoot, your victor here today. And now, John, I believe you have caught up with our second place driver, Mr. Lon Franks.
Yeah, Lon, this is John. Do you have a copy?
Hello.
Hey, Lon. Boy, I tell you what, you you took command of that race. You got a break with that yellow flag where it was able to put you back up in the lead. But, wow, you tried to do your best to widen that track out by pushing those walls back a little bit. Walk me through your eventful race here.
Chaos, to say the least. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know to start on the inside or outside. Can't really control it from the outside, but I don't know, I was just hanging on for dear life. I couldn't get 3 and 4 down to save my soul, so I was just hanging on, and then I felt bad for stuffing them the lap before, so didn't want to do it twice. I kind of gave it to him, whatever. It was a good race, so.
Well, as those laps were winding down and you had made contact, I noticed you had some damage on your car. Could you feel any damage? Did it change the way your car handled or anything?
Well, I mean, it was driving like crap from the drop of the green, pretty much. Like I said, I could get 3 and 4 down, but then I plowed into that lapper. I knew we were catching a lapper, and I'm just kind of watching everybody up racing, and I remember him missing the bottom, and then I looked up and, man, the closing rate, I didn't expect him. So I don't know, I probably should have went to the back for that. I mean, that was my fault, but everything happened so fast, I just looked up, it was there. So apologize for that, but I mean, it felt the same after that.
That is life on a quarter-mile bull ring. Things happen fast, and then gaps can close in the blink of an eye there. Well, hey, good run. I know it wasn't, it's one short of where you wanted to be, but who would you like to give a shout-out to tonight?
JRE, Jim Revis helps me with everything I do. Evil One Graphics for the wrap. You guys for putting it on. Friends and family for watching. Giving us a place to race, you know. I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. And that is Lon Franks, the second place finisher tonight.
Indeed. Thank you, Lon. And now we have our third place finisher, Hunter Hill. Hunter up 5 positions on the day to take a podium. That has got to feel good. Hunter, you got a copy?
I see him blinking, DJ, but I cannot hear him either.
I think we are not going to be able to catch up with our third place finisher, Hunter Hill, as he appears to have a little bit of audio issues here today. So that is unfortunate there that we'll not be able to hear from him. But, John, an incredible race out there. I don't know how they're going to top that in the season finale.
Well, yeah, it's a bigger track, but it's also multi-groove. You're going to be able to run all over that track, and in the races that I've been there, it's basically dirt Talladega for these cars. You can go 3 wide through the corners, you know, several rows deep. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I fully expect a lot to see the same here. You know, we've got Hargraves here who had a really, really tough night. He's going to be looking to bounce back, and you know, Proudfoot has, you know, clinched the championship basically, so he's just going to be there having fun. So guys could just go for it this next week and let it all ride, and I think that's going to provide some fireworks and some fun.
I certainly do as well, and I am very, very excited to see it. But as for tonight, that's about going to wrap things up for us here. On behalf of John Hine, Mike Yao, and the rest of us at the Virtual Grip Network, we would like to thank you for joining us here at the virtual Limaland Motorsport Park. The next race, you heard us mention it for this series, is going to be next Friday, March 18th from Knoxville. That'll start at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time. The next race on the channel will be tomorrow as the BRL Grand National Series heads to Irwindale, and they go live at 8:55 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back for that race at Knoxville. This has been a prediction of the Virtual Grip Network, and until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.